Hello everyone, after going through the initial settings and having done that, let's go through the Revit graphical user interface and see how do we set up units, project location and project information. So for that we'll open a sample project and we'll see the user interface, we'll see the components of interface. So when this project opens, and let me open a default 3D view. So when the interface opens, you will see modeling area, or drawing area, or sketching area, where you will be modeling things, where you will be sketching and drawing things. This is the ribbon where all the tools are displayed. So you have different tabs here, for instance, architecture, structure, system, so on and so forth. Each tab has a set of tools, for instance, to build, to create datum elements, to create circulation components. Most of these tools will be available to you in a default or in a particular view. But if you click on a building element, let's say this roof, there will be some contextual tools that will show up in this ribbon. Other than this ribbon, we have a properties window, which is right here. This window is extremely important because when you are modeling anything, all of the properties of that component will be shown over here. In this properties window, we have a type selector, which is right here. So when we will be inserting building components such as wall, roof, or columns, we can select a particular type before we insert that particular element. By default, if I'm in a particular view, let's say in this case it's a 3D view, by default, if nothing is selected, then the properties shown here belong to this particular view. But let's say if I click on this roof, okay, now the properties that are shown here are of this roof. And similarly, you can see what type of roof is that under this type selector. You can also go here and see if you can change it to some other roof type. The next important window on this interface is project browser. Okay, whatever you will be creating here, whichever type of floor plan or plan views, whichever type of ceiling plans, schedules, legends, renderings, 3D views, anything that you will create will be shown and organized over here. So if you have created a particular view, if you have created a particular schedule, and if you're going to look at that, you will be looking at over here. Okay. Now, by chance or by mistake, if any of these windows disappear and if you don't see them, the way to get those back is to go to View, go to User Interface, and make sure these are checked. So if I check on property, this window will show up. If I check the project browser, then this window will show up. Other than that, there are some important navigational tools. So it's very important to understand them. So the first thing is this cube that you see here. So if I click at the corner of the cube, it will show me that particular view. If I click at the top, it will show me the top view. If I click again at the corner, it will show me the corner view. It's a little bit slow. So this cube is handy, especially if you really want a standard view. However, if you want to go to a random view, or if you want to orbit and zoom randomly or the way you want, you can use this tool, which is called steering wheel. Okay, so click on this steering wheel, which is kind of a navigational wheel which has zoom option. So if I left click and drag, you see that it's zooming in and out. There's an orbit option. So click on orbit and I can left click and orbit around. And you see that right now this orbit is centered here, somewhere here. So if you want to change and if you want to orbit with a center somewhere here on the model, I take my navigational or steering wheel here and I click on center. What it does, it brings that pivot from here to here. So let's do that. Let's click on center here and you see now that the pivot is here. So if I orbit, now my model is orbiting around this center. Okay. I can also use this navigation wheel for panning. So if I want to move around and pan, I can use that. So please play around with these navigational tools and see and get accustomed to them. Other than these navigational tools, it is also important to know some display tools which are at the lower left corner. Okay, so the first tool is called detail level. Okay, now to know these or to understand these tools, let's go to a floor plan view. So let's open level 1 plan. Okay, and as I zoom in to these walls, I would see that, and if I go to detail level, which is currently set up to medium, and let's say if I make it to coarse, I see those details are gone. Okay, so depending on what type of modeling you're doing or whether these detail levels become nuisance, you can make them coarse, medium, or fine. Okay, so in fine details, you will see more details of these walls or their material, their layers, than in coarse detail, which will be, all these layers will be hidden. So depending on the requirements of modeling, you can change it. You can also change the visual style. Okay, and this is very handy, especially if you're using or creating something that is hidden below a particular building element. So for instance, you have just created a slab, a concrete slab, and if you want to see below it, and if you have an underlay of a drawing that you want to use, it's easy if you have a wireframe that makes the model transparent and you can see through a particular building element. So you can use wireframe if you want to see through a particular element. You can make it hidden line the way it was. You can make it shaded. So it is going to shade the model. For a better understanding, we can look at these options in a 3D view. So if I go here and click on a wireframe, you can see that the entire model is transparent and there are a lot of details and sometimes it's mind-boggling. You can go back and change it to hidden line and you can see that it's no more transparent. You can make it shaded. You can have a consistent colors shown, so consistent with the materials that you have applied in the model. And you can also make it realistic. So the trees and the material that you have applied or modeled will show up realistically. Make sure that you're not modeling or you're not navigating in this particular view. As you can see, things like this automobile, things like this tree, grass, material on the building are shown realistically. As I said earlier, do not model or do not navigate in this particular view. And the reason is it takes a lot of memory and the program might crash. So start using these styles based on your needs of modeling. I usually keep it on either hidden line or under shaded. Other than that, if you want to hide a particular building element, a model element, so for instance, if you want to hide this roof, okay, because you want to see something inside the building, And if you want to model or modify something inside the building, I click on that, right click, and I can say hide in view in elements. Okay, so then roof is hidden now. Okay, now sometimes you want to know what all elements I have hidden. So to know that, there's this little light bulb which says reveal hidden elements. If I click on that, I see all those elements which are hidden. So I have this roof hidden, I have a section box which is hidden. So I can click on the roof, then right click and say unhide in view, and it's no more hidden. Similarly, for section box, I can right click and say unhide in view, and I can get it back. To go back to your modeling view, click again on that light bulb and you'll be in the modeling view. Okay, and now you can see that the roof which was hidden earlier shows up again. Okay, there's another tool which is really handy, is this section box. The way you activate this is you are in a 3D view and then you scroll down under properties and then there's this section box. So you can check, uncheck. So if you uncheck, the section box will be gone. But if you want to view it again, check it and the section box will show up. The section box will cut through your 3D view and will show you a sectional 3-dimensional view. For that, you have to click on the section box and you see these little arrows here. You can use them to move the section box in and out. So if I move like this, it is going to slice through the model and show me a sectional view. So I can move it horizontally and I can also move it vertically using those little arrows. So like this. So I can use this section box to slice through my building vertically or horizontally if I want to see inside the building. If this section box is active, I can still go to my top view to see what all exists on that particular floor. So these are some basics of navigation, visual styles. We'll understand units, project location, and project information in the next video. Thanks for watching.